This is the work that I love to see. This 2022 article from MIT Sloan Management Review talks about how organizational network analysis offers an opportunity to put the equity and inclusion in diversity, equity, and inclusion, because usually if you work in HR or in people, you've probably had to report on the diversity in your organization. Now, usually that stops at representation. And while that's obviously important, diversity, equity, and inclusion cannot stop at representation only. So the article talks about how it's important to have measures in place that give us an indication of more than simply representation, because, as I said, that's not enough. So this research shows that using organizational network analysis as part of your people analytics, you can see that even if, in this case specifically, they looked at gender representation, even if you have proper representation of women in an organization, they might not have the same influence when it comes to making key decisions. So if you look at this summary of their key findings, they show that in this specific organization where the research took place, even though they have a formal sponsorship program that tries to make sure that women have the same opportunities than men, the nature in which people engage socially within organizations result in different connections being made. So the chart shows that men consistently have more connections with senior people, and that's not necessarily intentional. It just happens because of societal factors and the way that people have been socialized to interact. And that's not a judgment on how people act, but rather a gap in how we try to establish diversity, equity, and inclusion. And using organizational network analysis, we can start and identify these gaps and put in place whatever it requires, more interventions or structural changes or policy changes. So if you want to talk to me about organizational network analysis or diversity and inclusion in your organization, go to the link in my bio. Would love to chat to you and hear your thoughts. I also have these journals that speak to leadership and diversity and inclusion. So if you're interested in purchasing one of those, you can also check out the link in my bio where you can buy those on Amazon, KDP. Or also leave your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we can use analytics to drive diversity, equity, and inclusion in our organizations.